Hello and welcome to Belonging Songs, your weekly podcast that brings you a brand new original song. Each episode then talks about the theme of that song and the processes that went into writing and recording it and the revisions we make along the way. I'm your host, Wade Dana. With me, as always, Patrick Crane.
Hi.
And Brad Maurer.
Hi.
Coming at you from Brad's house.
Daft Punk is playing at Brad's house.
We're coming from about a 400-degree room.
It's really warm in here.
Will you throw some water on the hot rocks?
Yeah, I have air conditioning.
And also...
But it doesn't work in this room, apparently.
Chuckers, could you put a towel on?
Right.
Please, yes.
Chuckers came in here for a steam.
Yeah.
Fell asleep in the corner.
Chuckers is having a schwitz.
Somebody just throw a wet towel over him. We're not kidding. We have a cooler in the room.
Getting into it right now. Getting a LaCroix.
Brad's getting an LA Crux.
Yep.
So yeah, we're in Brad's house
It's a good time.
again. Our last episode, or one of our last episodes, was also from here.
It was probably the last...
And
Yeah, we were previously
we
in
drove
here.
all the way home
Came back.
for days and then came back
Right,
to
we
record this episode.
We do one at a time, guys,
Yeah.
because that's how important the episodes are.
Yeah, they're handcrafted by artisans
Right? Yeah.
from
Not
generations.
No, not us.
Somebody else.
We subbed that out.
Descending from generations of podcasters.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Generations, as in a couple of years.
Giuseppe
No.
Belonging Songs, the
No,
founder
no,
of
the
Belonging
hamburgers.
Songs.
There's no hamburgers. I'm sorry. The Dave popped his head in here.
He's been trying to heat them up in the
Seriously.
sauna.
He's like, well, he's been putting
get out of here.
burgers on the rocks.
Yeah. And so
Burgers on the
it's
rocks.
just, instead of steam, it's all hamburger grease.
Brad, I think you just wrote like a Jimmy Buffett
I
song.
think we wrote the sequel to fucking Home Squares.
Burgers on the rocks.
Burgers on the rocks!
All right, we'll get
No ice!
coming soon. All right, so this week we are talking about a new song by me. What do you guys think about that?
I didn't sign up for this.
It is called Past Matters. I wrote this the past couple weeks, and I'm excited for you guys to hear it. I just finished working on it yesterday. It may not be finished, but I got it to a point where I was like, I want these guys to hear it. This song is another political type song.
I love...
Brad's reading the lyrics right now.
I just like when I get to the line that you say all the time, which is, they're the worst.
So we've been sharing lyrics ahead of time, but since this just got finished, these guys have not read or seen the lyrics on this. So they're going through them right now before we give it a listen.
I'm interested. There's a lot of them.
Yep. Yeah. I wrestled with them for days. It took me about 3 nights to write these. And
Can we take a break halfway?
Can we take a break right now?
97.2 The Stride.
And
Have you always, has that always been a part of your process, like painstakingly writing vocals?
yeah.
Right?
Now, sometimes they come really easy, but more often than not, I have to really wrestle them out of myself. And this one really, I wanted it to have meaning, and I tried to give these a lot of good thought.
Mm-hmm.
So
I like it.
So they took a while. What do you think? Should we listen to this?
Absolutely.
I was originally toying around with the title "People Are Dumb," so history inevitably repeats itself.
Uh-huh.
But I'm calling it Past Matters. But, if I called it People Are Dumb, so history repeats itself, I'd probably get a lot more listens.
Potentially.
So we'll think about that.
Yeah, might get you like 2 YouTube subscribers.
So if we can do anything to lose 5 more Instagram followers,
Right.
we should do it.
I have a song called I Hate My Life and I Wish I Was Dead.
It's
And
not
it is by far
most popular.
the most popular song as far as downloads go.
Yeah.
It has thousands compared to, a handful for any other song
that
we've done.
That's hilarious.
So we'll toy around with the title here. Right now, it's tentatively titled Past Matters. Let's give it a listen. Brad, you're going to be hearing this in mono
Well, fuck.
because we have a new recording set up here.
That's the Phil Spector cut.
Yeah,
Wallace sound.
that's right.
It's a
now road. Chain legs to fashion now. Hey, now we're calling this home. Hey, we've got to go. Hey, now we're building this home. Chain legs to fashion now road. Sometimes I find me being happy, but then I read the news. That wall I built comes crashing down. All those bricks I made for laughing are not as funny when others must hear voices sound. The past matters. It's horrible, it's the worst. Repeat the same matters. They're horrible, they're the worst. Repeat the past matters. It's horrible, it's the worst. Repeat the same matters. They're horrible, they're the worst. We should be so dumb to think skin changes blood, or to think all us don't disagree. Cause they've proven their love for ruling above just about damn near everything.
UK.
I just like the way that the silence.
Okay.
The silence happened.
It's another one where I'm kind of nervous.
No,
having you guys listen to it.
I'm not struggling. I like the mood. I like the feel. I like what's going on with it. It's very obvious. It's a current affairs song, right?
Ching ching.
But I
Dick Wolf.
I struggle with a lot of the tempo. It's you.
Yeah.
Like it's what you've done for as long as I've known you.
I was.
And I've always struggled with these parts where you do peaks and valleys in the
Yeah.
same song, and
I
swoosh.
kind of expected
Yeah.
that response from
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
on this.
You would expect that from me. I start with the love. I love the I guess the refrain. It's not quite a chorus, like the past matters, it's horrible, they're the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Repeat, right?
I wrote that's my favorite part of the
Yeah,
song.
I love the build. It's a good build. I love the back vox. I love the alarm that's in the first one because it's like
school bell.
It's school bell. It's very irritable and like I took it as an alarm, like come on guys, like wake up kind of thing, right? So I love that whole part. The problem I have.
This song, I'm hoping like you're gonna say, I don't know, it's a little keeps you on edge a little bit, or makes you uncomfortable.
A little discontent, yeah. I struggle coming out of that. Like it loses me in the hey, now we're calling that home, which is an awesome part on its own. But coming out of that part, I think it's like okay, like where am I now? And you have to like wait a minute to get there, and then by then you're on to something else, and it's a different thing. So,
I got the same comment there. I wrote, this part's a bit confusing to me. I kind of get lost.
yeah, and by
the
the time you get in the groove, we're off to another groove, you know, like which
So
is not
the part that you're getting lost in is the hey.
Yeah,
now
now
we're
we're calling this home. Yeah,
Okay.
it slows down.
Yeah,
and
that's
then,
good,
And then you, if
that's what I want.
Then perfect. Then you nailed it. And like this is another one where probably 3 or 4 more listens, you're like, okay, like I get it.
And and maybe that doesn't. Maybe I need to work on that, but I'll explain why I want you to get lost in that.
Okay.
Obviously, that middle part is all about driving people from their land. We took this country from Native Americans.
Yep.
We built this country through slavery, and that's what that's all about.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the part is sung, and the music is supposed to be like so pretty that you almost forget that that's what that is about.
Well, it almost puts you on the wrong side, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I want the song when it comes back to take you back to the message, like, oh shit, I just got lost in that, even though that was also part of the message.
I think that is, given that explanation, like that's close. I don't know that it's all the way there. The problem I think with it is it's a little flat.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So like it maybe if that's what you're trying to do and you're trying to go pretty, I think it might need, maybe it needs strings in the full Monty and like a,
It has strings.
well, bigger. Like,
Okay.
like, because right there, like, I didn't necessarily pick up on the strings.
And
I
this
was
also
just,
isn't mixed.
yeah,
so-
okay. Yeah. And I'm listening
And you're
to
listening
it.
mono.
Listening to the Phil Spector version. I see what you're doing there.
Maybe you should do
I like that.
another listen without.
But, yeah, maybe. But it's not like it's a lot to ask a listener to do. I think it just might need a boost to drive the point, what you're trying to do.
So you think that whole part should be even bigger?
Yeah. I think it
Okay.
needs to be like the pop part, right? Not in a like a Miley Cyrus or whatever kind of way, just in like
Party in the USA.
Right. Yes. That's what I want. I want
Yeah.
you to go.
Patrick, what do you
now.
think of that?
Well,
Yeah,
think
I would
it
agree
could
with
be a
that.
Smash Mouth because it does start with "Hey Now," so we could do that.
Guy Fieri, if you're
I
listening,
ride
give
for
us a
Smash
call.
Mouth.
So I have almost the exact same notes that Brad does, literally. The thing I really like, again, is the Past Matters. The lyrically, it reminds me a lot of a Lou Reed song, particularly Busload of Faith, which is kind of that, it's almost like a gospel happy song, but he's talking about all the problems in America and how you get through it.
It's a really cool link because I struggled a little bit with the phrasing on it,
Okay.
but when you compare it to like Lou Reed, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I got a big Lou Reed vibe just from the timbre and the style of lyrics. You're looking at me like that's not a compliment, but that's a pretty big compliment. The "You Can't Deny What's Really Happened" part, that's where the song starts to become really cohesive to the listener, which I know isn't what you're going for, but I would love to hear the keys come up there. That'd be a nice, of course you have it written
Bigger,
there.
it says.
And I did get really confused with the "Hey, now we're calling this home" part, where I almost feel like I was thrown off the bus and I'm tumbling down, getting road rash on the dirt. And then it comes back in, and I love how the song ends. Like after that next chunk of verse, I'm locked in.
Do you think that would benefit from space? Because you go right into like they're the worst repeat, and then boom, and then you're off to that next part. Maybe just a beat.
Are you
there.
guys confused by the music or by the words? Do the
think-
lyrics not make
No,
sense?
the
to you?
lyrics are crystal clear.
Let's start with that, which is where you started. I think all of the lyrics are well written
Yeah.
and very comprehensive.
Okay.
Like you get it 100%. But I think
What do you mean by it's horrible?
I think the mood shift is just too much of a dial turn.
So what I wrote is avant-garde. A bit. This is your David Lynch piece.
That's his Wade Dana piece. It's,
Well, it's a Wade Dana piece in the sense that it has several movements. It has
Yeah.
a couple of time
And you know,
signatures.
Brad, that sometimes when I do stuff like this, it's going to be harder to convince me to do otherwise.
Yeah.
I know exactly what road we're going.
Yeah. I know. This is all going to be edited out anyway.
No, it's like, well, these
But
guys.
I do. I think this is something that you set out very intentionally to do, which is going to be lost on some listeners, including myself, on first listen. But I think that's fine. That's your intent, so you did it well.
Yeah.
Which means it's better than fine. You succeeded at what you set out to do.
I think maybe a 10% rule is probably the one to follow. Like, you're not trying to get everybody to love it, but maybe if you took it from the people that might like it that are directly in line with you, if you did a couple changes, you might get 10% more.
Right.
Just after that repeat, maybe just some space before that new part
I tried that.
doesn't work.
I left like a measure there and didn't like it as much. I could try it again and let you guys hear it like that and see what you think. I did try that, which means I know that transition is an issue, so
What about like an audio clip in there? Something historic, like take a cue from Living Color and do something with it. Just don't play it flat. But
Right.
like Fly Girls.
yeah, like Fly Girls and
Yeah.
how many weigh-ins?
Let me
matters
show
were
you
on in
something.
there?
Put it right in there.
We only talk about SNL on this
Oh, yeah,
show.
you're
Oh,
not
just
shit.
shoot. Sorry.
You're not shit.
Dang, we're gonna lose our
What
sponsorship.
about a like in that part, if it potentially went on longer and you incorporated the verse before it behind it, like if you had like when you get into maybe the second time around when you're doing "Hey now we're building this home, chain legs, fashion our roads. If you behind that are subtly going, the same matters. Like there's these people over here and the chanters are walking down the street.
It's funny because I also tried that during the end.
Didn't work?
It worked okay I'm talking about the very last verse. I had that. I tried that idea, so we're on the same page. I didn't try it during that middle part, but maybe that's something I could.
Yeah, maybe
try.
Maybe try it in there just to tie them together. Because right now they're really separate, which is what you want. So
yeah, the one thing I would be cautious with is this song, as I understand, it's not intended to be a banger, right?
No.
It's not intended to be easy to listen to.
it's what they call a think piece.
I do want it to be cohesive. I don't want to throw people too far off and just like lose the message, which it sounds like that's what's happening.
Just a little bit. Like I think, like I said, like just subtlety would probably level it off a little bit.
So I'll work on that transition.
Yeah,
I don't think the message is lost at all. I think it's the atmosphere.
Or exactly. It's not the presentation either, because everything on its own is good.
Yep.
Every part on its own. If you were to take that song that, the Hey Now We're Calling This Home, and you were to make an entirely different song.
I can't stop hearing Smash Mouth. You do that.
I mean, I didn't write it.
Welcome to my playlist. Right. I actually titled my playlist, I Can't Stop Hearing Smash Mouth. Except for that one Chumbawamba song that I threw in the middle.
We had in high school, we had our teacher, Mr. Furtaw, and we walked in one day and everybody sits down, and the very first thing, this is like 7 a.m, we all sit down and he goes, anybody in here ever hear of Chumbawamba? We're like, what? Like, what's happening?
It's like they're talking directly to me. His name was Mr. Furtaw?
Yeah, anybody here ever hear of?
That's a real name?
Yeah, he kind of looked like Jean-Luc Picard.
Yeah. So you could imagine him going, anybody here ever hear of Chumbawamba? There was a slight pause and then Chumbawamba. Which is the only way to say it now. So,
any other like musical things I need to tweak other than that?
In the back, behind everything, I think if you were to take every part stands on its own really good. I think just the seam, you need the seamstress to iron it all together a little bit better.
I'd like to hear it mixed.
Yeah. You want to listen to it on a sidebar mixed?
Yeah.
You just want me to mix it here real quick?
Yeah, why don't you just mix it up real quick?
I'll wait for a couple of days.
Yeah. No, wait's pretty quick. 4 hours. It's not quite dark yet.
All right, well, let's move on to theme.
Yeah.
Why don't you guys tell me what you're getting from this?
I think we've already talked about it, but it's a history of America. And basically colonialism. Basically building a country at the expense of others.
Yeah, and then controlling what history says about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Controlling the narrative.
Obviously, one of the first things that comes to mind, right, is the removal of like Confederate statues and things like that, and that's something where I don't know. I guess I don't get clearly what side of that you're on, which is probably okay. Because there's a couple of sides that people are on, and one is the don't get rid of it because you'll forget it. The other one is get rid of it
Put it in a museum.
It doesn't need to be there, right?
With context,
right?
It belongs in a museum,
right?
I do really like some of your lyrics in here, particularly the "are not as funny when others must give voices sound." This is a conversation I've had with people on the other side of the fence from where we are.
So this alludes to protesters throwing bricks.
Yeah. And what I also get from it, which goes along with that, is people on the other side complain when people peacefully protest, i.e. Colin Kaepernick, and they also complain when they violently protest. So it's essentially, we just don't want to hear their voices.
Exactly.
So that one line captures that entire dialogue, which I think is really, really colorful, really successful.
And the line before, those bricks I made from laughing, well, I say that wall comes crashing. That whole verse, like, I'm fine with being happy, but then you read the news or you realize what's actually going down in the world, and it brings you down. So you build up this wall of happiness and everything around you, or of like, oh, I got my shutters on, we live in privilege. If I don't want to, I don't have to see it, but that comes crashing down. So these bricks that I've used to build the wall around myself with the privilege that I have are not as funny when you realize that other people don't have that privilege.
Right. Yeah, you say a lot in just a few words. It's pretty impressive.
I think they're well crafted lyrics. I think the delivery is good. It states what you're trying to say, and the vehicle you chose to put them in, it forces somebody to want to hear them.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So like somebody's they've got to bite on early to stick
I do
with the
like
whole
that
thing.
point.
Yeah.
The way it's crafted does make you have to pay attention.
Right.
It's not an easy listen.
That's what I mean.
Right.
Yeah. So there's some shit that is hard that you have to do, and sometimes you might listen to this just to
E.g.
finish it.
Talking about what's actually happening in the world,
Right. Exactly.
and looking it in the face.
What's happening in the world?
We're going to play Arrow Catch here in a bit.
Yeah.
Bubble.
But systemic racism also.
Yeah.
And I was proud of my line that you can't rely on justice from a stolen gun, which
I
is
love that line.
how
Good line.
this whole country kind of has operated.
Oh yeah. And what you're taught in second grade is the truth,
Right.
even if it's not.
So just a song that
Lighthearted episode.
I hope will just get some people thinking. Hopefully this
And
helps to
remember
do that. And like I said in the past, that current events are affecting my writing more. So this is an example of that.
I think it's pretty hard not to be affected by it right now and have to express it in some way.
Yeah. So do you guys want to get technical?
No.
Oh, I thought that was a yes. So a lot of the main tracks on this I recorded through my old mixing console, which is a Soundcraft 1S, which is the first Soundcraft mixing board that they made. And it's from like the 60s. Every time I turn it on, a few less channels work, or a few less things work on it. So I just go to the next channel. It's 16 channels, so
Wasn't it in your mom's basement for like
it was in my
time?
mom's basement for
Just
a
got
really
to
long
clean out
time.
the spiders.
Yeah.
I got it, took it, and cleaned it all up, and it's huge. It's super heavy, but it has its own kind of sound. So I recorded all the main tracks through that thing, which was pretty fun because I haven't used it in a little while.
Does it have a tube in it?
It has two, right?
No, that is not a tube. It's
Oh,
all
I thought
that's
that
all
one-
solid state.
Thought that was tube. That's a solid state from 60 what?
Late 60s maybe.
That's got to be a
Fresh.
early,
It was
early
fresh
technology. Yeah.
Fresh tech.
Maybe 71 would be the latest. I'll have to,
Yeah.
I'll put a picture of it on Instagram.
Badass.
Follow us on Instagram, Belonging Songs. So there's probably already pictures of that thing
And
up there.
follow us
but-
on Instagram if you're not a prostitute.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Right.
So yeah, that was fun.
They
Also,
don't follow us. They just look at our stories.
They want us to follow them.
that was the main point for technical stuff I wanted to say.
No,
on that.
on the board. I mean,
Yeah.
standard procedure on the guitars and the amps. I mean, pig nose.
Yeah, big
Yeah.
nose. I used SG and I used some Telecaster on this. I doubled the bass with the Telecaster. So that's something that I also did on Pajamas to give it a little more punch.
Yep.
That's cool.
So I took my Telecaster and just played the same thing the bass is playing. Just
I like.
let it
I
poke
like
through a little.
Did you have the tone turned to the low end, or did you keep
Nope.
it like
Kept-
telly upper
yeah,
end? That's
yeah.
cool.
kept it plucky. Also, Brad, you mentioned strings. I bought the East West Hollywood Strings pack.
Oh shit!
And
Do tell.
because all the string samples that I had were super terrible and very synthy sounding, like old organ strings patch, which is just super shitty.
Sounds like this DR5 here.
Yeah, so it's something I've wanted for a long time, and I wanted strings on this song, and I tried out some of my old patches and was just like, this sounds cheesy. So they were on sale. I bit the bullet. It was like, I don't know, $125 and got this pack of string samples, and they sound great, and that's the strings on this. So I did that just yesterday.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I might do that. Mm-hmm. Because I think I've mentioned it on like 4 episodes. I'm like, I need some strings.
The next purchase from them will be brass.
Yeah.
because
Ooh.
often we'll want horns as well.
Ooh.
Tower Power.
Yeah. Yeah.
They also have that background singers one, which would be
Yeah,
cool.
which is pretty badass.
That thing's incredible.
You can type in words.
Yeah,
Yep.
and they'll sing them.
Wiener.
So one thing it would have been nice to have access to on this song would have been a class of children to repeat my chorus there.
Which
the past
totally would have
matters.
happened if kids could have been in school.
Right. So
Fucking
instead,
COVID.
I set up a mic and then stood at different intervals from it in the room and just tried to do little kid voices in
Should have
the
had
background. So you
should
hear
have had the
that
wife
come in.
kick you in the balls.
And there's like 14 of those tracks that I did for
That's
that.
awesome.
So you hear that crowd come
Sounds
in.
cool, yes.
That's just me a bunch of times.
I like that you did it that way instead of affecting regular vocal and having like a chorus with
Yeah,
some
so
sort
if I were to solo them, you'd hear like the past matters on some of them. I just tried to do a different voice for everyone to make it sound
They're
like
from
a
Long Island too.
sound like a classroom.
555-4444.
Support your firefighters.
coffee talk. The past matters.
So you see at the end there too in the lyrics, I alluded to my working title being "People are so dumb that history repeats itself," and the last lyrics it talks about people being dumb. So that's actually had that title before I wrote that line of lyrics. So
I like
I got it in there.
I like it. I like the
I
song
like
as a
it,
whole.
but you don't.
Well, no, I like it. It just
It's ridiculous.
Oh no, all it is it's an accessibility issue. If you're not worried about flow and more people like listenability, you're good. But if it's
I want this to get its message across, and I don't want that to get lost on people. So I'm going to work on that transition.
yeah, that's where I was coming from.
What about
Like,
coming out of that part?
It was okay, I think.
Okay, so it's just going, just mainly after that bell.
Yeah, and
The
it slows.
alarm.
Yeah, and it just kind of pumps. It hits the brakes, and it goes into a very nice part on its own. It just needs a little bit of connectivity tissue.
Cool. Well,
Let's
time to
get
jump
to
in
that.
the future machine,
Oh, yeah.
the time machine.
Hell yeah!
Dave just got that thing out of the shop
Fuck
again.
yeah!
All right, well, he's got it all waxed up. Let's get in. Set course.
To the future!
All right, welcome back, BSers. We are trying to learn from our mistakes and just actually listened to the demo of the song before we started recording again here in the future because we just tried recording another episode and basically had no idea what we had said months before. So
We're only 6 months into this thing. No, 8 months in. No, 10 months into this thing, and we're
learning.
We're gonna figure it out.
Yeah,
someday.
Yeah.
we have a time machine, but why would we use it?
Well, we
'cause
can
it's
never
constantly
get it
broken.
because the keys were stuffed in the bottom of a Dorito bag.
Yeah.
Last time I was looking for them, they were in the freaking cheeseburger flavor, which Chuckers always brings over.
So we've got a pretty good recap situation going on that works.
Yeah. I was trying to think of Dave's new lady friend that he's been hanging out with from high school.
That's Baleen.
Yeah, okay. Ever since Baleen
Rolling
came
in.
back into his life.
Yeah, have you met her yet?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
It's about what you'd expect. I mean,
Yeah.
she seems sweet.
she's a sweet girl.
Close your eyes.
Yeah.
Have somebody say Baleen
Give
to
me
you.
your
That's her.
hand,
Yep.
darling.
What is it?
So, yeah, we've recapped this song here. You guys had issues with the transition going into that slower part, the bridge of the song. And I've worked quite a bit on this since we last got together.
I will say that since we listened to it recently, I don't know if I gave you enough credit for the other parts previously in this
Well,
episode.
please continue.
Right. Yeah. But I do like, I would say 90% of the song. I still struggle with the one part where you bring it way down after such a big build. That is that past matters part.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
everybody just probably listened to us talk about that. But I do want to say that I really enjoy the rest of the song. I think it's really good.
That's still my favorite part. And when we were listening before recording this, that part is so anthemic to me it makes me want to stand up on a chair and kind of pump my fist and yell along.
Well,
so
good,
it
because
gets
that's
me
like
there.
kind of the point of that
right.
is like drilling that into somebody's head. That's why I tried to give it a classroom feel with the kids and the bell. And,
I
Captain,
also
my
noticed the
Captain.
line, we shouldn't be so dumb to think skin changes blood, which I think is really great.
I think that's good.
I don't think I
So-
gave you any credit for anything before.
I tried to write that last verse intentionally to sound a little confusing if you're dumb. So,
Right, yeah.
so somebody could listen to it and take it the
No,
wrong way.
Dave, we're not talking about you. Calm
no,
the
just-
fuck down.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus.
Yeah, so it's like somebody would hear that and not get the point of it and be like, yeah, and like get all fired up in the wrong way.
Right. Kind of like that reminds me of a story where my brother, when he was in college, he was telling me this story about he lived across the hallway from a guy, and he was blasting like a Neil Diamond record, right? And the guy across from him was blasting Rage Against the Machine, and he comes over and whatever, the RA or whatever comes up, and they're like, hey, we like Neil Diamond and all, but can you turn that down? He goes, yeah, no problem. You know, he goes across the hall to the guy, and while he's blaring, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't. He's like, hey, can you turn that down? Oh, yeah, no problem. Yeah, absolutely. We'll turn this down. He goes, my brother's like, fuck yeah, you'll do what you tell him. Anyway, sorry about that. It just made me think of that band, like Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah, they take it the wrong way.
Yes, a lot of people listen to that band and they don't have any idea what the band's about.
Yeah,
Like
that's
that
kind
guy-
of what I was going for. with
Remember,
that.
like recently when the guy tweeted that he's Tom Morello used to have really good music. Why don't you just quit talking about politics?
yeah,
So I don't think you missed the boat, pal.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I don't know if the man in effigy on the cover of their album clued you in.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just a
Or
badass
maybe
picture.
the
Yeah.
title Evil Empire.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, so that's kind of the idea
don't like
I was
Star
going
Wars.
for with that. So yeah, anyway, I did spend. I took the feedback because I think that transition wasn't as good as it could be. I also really like the like arrangement of this song, so I do like that metal part where it slows down, and hopefully I've been able to connect them a little better for you guys. And
Us dummies.
I think I did. Yeah, I don't want to dumb this down too much.
no, and I think Wade, when we were sitting in here earlier, he goes, "Yeah, you guys can tell me whatever the fuck you want, but it's done."
It's
Yeah.
pretty much it's done.
Yeah. Whether or not he acknowledges it,
Right.
that's how he operates.
So now it's just, do you like what I did or not? Listen,
Yeah.
right?
And actually, if we rewind the tape, did you actually say,
I kind of
I wrote this song for people, if they're dumb,
Right.
they won't get it.
right.
And Patrick and I both have our jaws dropped going, huh? What? Meh.
But no, this is a song that I want people to listen to multiple times. It's not an easy listen. That's another funny thing. Everybody who's heard it so far has been like, it's weird. It does a lot of stuff. And I don't set out to do that. Like, I didn't think it was a strange arrangement when I wrote it, but I think that's just inherent in some of my writing.
Yeah, you don't always know that.
Because I'm like, what? It's like 3 or 4 main parts,
What?
but the lyrics are something I want people to think about. So it's not super blatant if you're not paying attention.
Well,
I think.
the other thing though that kind of speaks to the lyrics is just the tone of and the delivery in the song.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of steers you in the direction that it's about something aggressive
Right.
a little bit, which is a good hit because it'll get you to listen to it regardless of if it's like a melody or whatever gets in your head. They're screaming, "Listen to me." You're going to listen to a little bit closer. And I think this song does that.
Cool. So you guys want to
Yeah.
hear what I've done?
I do.
All right. So I gave this a mix. I added a lot of elements, and we'll talk about that after, and because you guys suggested a lot of them.
It's a false sense of security, thinking purely from one point of view. Because life's a two-way mirror, there's more than what just reflects you. It was guns that forged the history books, the blood that built the temples too. And it's the high life that's growing, because they get to use and step on you. can't deny what's really happened. You can't rely on justice from a stolen gun. Sometimes I'm fine with being happy, but then I'll read the news, and that wall I built comes crashing down. All those bricks I made from laughing are not as funny when others must give voices sound. You can't deny what's really happened. You can't rely on justice from a stolen gun. The past matters. It's horrible, it's the worst. Repeat the same matters. They're horrible, they're the worst. Repeat the past matters. It's horrible, it's the worst. Repeat the same matters. They're horrible, they're the worst. Repeat the past matters. It's horrible, it's the worst. Repeat the same matters. They're horrible, they're the worst. Hey, now we call it this home. Brave, you've got to go. Hey, now we're building this home. Chain legs to fashion our road. Chain legs to fashion our road. Chain legs to fashion our road. Hey, now we're calling this home. Brave, we've got to go. Hey, now we're building this home. Chain legs to fashion our road. Sometimes I'm fine with being happy, but then I read the news. That wall I built comes crashing down. All those bricks I made from laughing are not as funny when others must give voices sound. The past matters. It's horrible, it's the worst. Repeat the same matters. They're horrible, they're the worst. Repeat the past matters. It's horrible, it's the worst. Repeat the same matters. They're horrible, they're the worst. We shouldn't be so dumb to think skin changes blood, or to think others don't disagree. Cause they've proven their love for ruling above just about damn near everything.
All right. Right. Excuse me. We just ate some nachos. I had
Everybody's
some in the throat. still.
I love it. I like what you did with, particularly you did a lot of things in that "Hey Now" part, but I really like the backing vocals swell
Okay.
in that, and I like it because I think it ties the chorusy, not the effect, but like just the volume
Yeah,
of
those were
voices.
in there before, just weren't mixed.
Yeah, I almost want more of them because it'll tie it to the part before where there's the classic
was-
singing.
That was my thought too. I want more there.
And so like I think you're like halfway there to tying it together.
Okay.
That distorted guitar part's really cool. I think bringing more vocals into that part. And
I
bringing
had them
up,
louder originally, but
yeah, I mean I don't know how many you did.
there's a good amount
Is there?
of them.
So,
Yeah.
but I think maybe getting those mixed up a little bit, maybe blended a little bit
Okay.
better. That's my only suggestion, I think, for pretty much the whole thing. Everything else is good.
I really
Awesome.
like and it might have been there before, but I just noticed it in this mix. I like the delay on the past matters part.
That was
that
new.
there?
No,
Is it? Yeah.
that was new.
Yeah, I really like that a lot. Just to echo what Brad was saying, and we may have talked about this in our first listen of this song, I almost want like children's choir or chorus singing that in those parts we want bigger.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to hear something like that. I don't know if it's possible.
BSers, if you're a children's choir, please send us a message or record these parts and then send them back
I
to
mean,
us.
what are all these church singers doing right now?
Yeah, they're out of work.
They don't have shit to do.
Yeah. What are the kids doing and can't always get what you want? They got to be 80 now.
Right,
What
yeah.
do they do?
Their voices are back to sounding weak. It's a full circle. But I think that's it. I think just trying to
bring those
tie
up.
just to tie those two parts together, like the same people are there, only you brought it down and then it goes back into the song again.
So you notice I did some guitars leading into there,
Yep.
and there's a whole new distorted guitar
Throughout
track
it.
in there.
Yep.
Added a lot more strings throughout the whole song,
I did notice those.
and cymbal crashes and stuff.
Shotgun
What
blast.
about
Yeah,
yeah?
new shotgun blast.
How did you like that?
I
didn't
like
know if
that.
was,
You,
okay.
you
almost
should have
wanted-
yelled, "Get out my lawn!"
Yeah. Almost wanted to like echo,
Yeah.
like maybe a repeat delay on it a little bit more, but
Now,
good.
how about that transition in general, though? Does it sound in a little better now?
yes.
Okay.
Yes. Like I said, I think the only thing is somehow bringing those background kids, quote unquote, into that other part.
So you had an idea of like bringing that into the part, like doing the chant through there. And if you'll notice, I think you have a note there that says, what does that say?
That just says backing box and
So
hey.
if you notice during that part, there's like some yelling going on.
Uh-huh.
And it is that chant, the past matters, but it's like reversed
Uh-huh.
and thrown in there. And it's tucked down, but it almost sounds like a riot going on in the
Gotcha.
background.
Yeah, that's what it needed was a little bit of that. And so like the texture of it's a lot better, I think. I don't know what if you're
Yeah, I think so. I need to listen to this a bunch more times. It doesn't seem there to me yet, and I don't know what's missing, but it's better. I like it better. It doesn't feel as jarring, but I know jarring's what you're going for.
well, I think the song in whole is.
Yeah.
Like I think it comes in aggressive. You capture the mood of it with your vocal style, like I was saying earlier, which makes you think about what you're hearing. And I think just the only problem either of us had, we had the same note,
Yeah.
was just that it died.
Yeah.
You know,
I
and
feel like you're getting there.
yeah, I don't.
And my ears perked up. It was, oh, here it goes. This makes sense now. And then it just
Yeah, it didn't die like before, but I think I agree with Patrick. Where
just needs
you're close, but I just think it needs a little more build. If you think it's done, like you did on the couch earlier,
Yeah,
then you pack it up and you mail it.
I definitely don't have a problem with it slowing down there.
Yeah,
But
and so if that's what you want,
and you guys,
can go fuck off.
yeah,
It's what
yeah,
it
that's
is.
Well,
pretty
no,
much
I
it.
mean-
Yeah. He wrote it down. He didn't want to say it.
Listening
My
back
only note,
through
you
the
guys
feedback-
can fuck right off.
You sir, can
you guys are having a hard time putting your finger on what it needs.
Yeah,
Yes.
I
So that
think
doesn't really
help
help
you?
a
no,
ton.
no, but I think what I would
I could raise
if I was
the
writing,
level of
if,
those.
if I was
background
writing
vocals.
this song, and the way I work sometimes is the part that sticks out in my ear when I'm listening to it is the part that I accentuate and build other parts around. And the part that is that for that verse or chord, whatever the fuck that is.
You're talking about the
interlude
bridge?
3. Is that the bridge?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the bridge part is the higher vocal, not the
Right.
kid vocal, but that like softer, higher vocal that came in. That's the one that I like.
The background vocal.
Yeah, the background vocal. That's what I want to hear more of. And
I-
that's once you do that and you bring it up, it's probably going to tell you to do something else. Once you get those in there, there's probably something else that you're going to want to do to balance those out a little bit, if that makes any sense.
No, is what he's saying.
Yeah. But that's how because that's the part, like, I heard it. Like, I heard the hey, and, like, there was a backing vocal, and it was really good. And then it kind of went away. And then it came back later, and then it went away. I kind of want it to...
It should be in through that whole.
Yeah, but it's like,
part.
it doesn't hit that same, like, level. I don't know if I don't think it's a mixed thing. I think it might be I don't know if it was the way it was performed or what. You know, hard for me to articulate it, but that's the part that I think I want a little more of.
Great.
Or it's done. Tie it in a bow.
Or
I would say mix
have
it.
Chuck D rap over it.
Mhm.
If you're a Chuck D out there,
I do like Chuck D rapping.
I wrote a letter to the New York Post.
Brad, you discovered a new artist, Baby Huey. Not a new artist, an old artist.
old
but
artist.
You recently discovered. And that intro little string thing was inspired by us listening to that
Baby
last
Huey?
week. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. If you haven't listened to Baby Huey, get on Baby Huey.
oh yeah,
I sent it to you. Did you get on it?
oh I've been on it.
Oh man, were you on it before? Were you
I
not
was on
telling
it
me about
before.
it? Fuck you, dude. Why does this happen? Why?
Why didn't you tell us?
One day,
Right.
we're all gonna sit down. We've talked about this since I've known you guys, and we're gonna have a listening party.
Yeah.
Together?
I mean, get off of
Yes,
Baby Huey.
we're gonna hang out and like we're friends.
Why do I?
That's
have
what the listeners want. The listeners want to believe that we're friends in real life.
Well, little do they know what goes on behind the scenes. Pure animosity. So anyway, we didn't really do what you wanted.
No, I want this song to be done.
It's over then.
Yeah, it's
Pissed
over.
that it's not.
No, if you like,
I do really like it, but
if you
I
like
wanna...
it, I would say
It's-
just do what I did. Just
here's
try it, and if it doesn't work, end it.
It's
Go.
an
You don't know. You haven't told me what to do, though.
More. I think it could be. I don't know what's there. Is why I don't know what to do.
I think what we should do is
Let's listen to that part.
stop this episode. Let's go into the mix. We're all here.
Let's do it real quick.
I can pull those up and see if that does it for you, and we can jump back into this episode.
We'll be right back.
Okay, so we are back. We just listened to some elements inside the mix session
We just
and
angered Wade.
got a better idea. Shut up. Of
of what work Wade needs to do to
of
make
what
this
these guys want to hear. So Brad's hearing a very specific vocal
Melody,
part in
yeah.
the background vocals that he wants me to do more of in the mid range. My high vocal background vocal is doing
Yes.
what you want. You just want more of it,
Yes.
like all together.
We like how
Patrick
you
agreed.
sing that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like I was saying earlier, what I would typically do is like once I did that, I would probably mirror it with something, and then that would thicken that up because I think that melody,
I wish you would have just recorded this song.
well, let's do another covers episode.
Yeah, it'd be
I'll make
done
it-
already.
We'll make it better, Patrick.
No, it
right?
wouldn't.
No,
No, it
you wouldn't have cared about it.
This would be like 2022 coming out. That's what I heard. You asked me, what did you hear? I just heard that part, and I heard
Okay.
that's what I liked about it, and that's where I heard it going was a mesh of those two vocal lines.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I said, what I would probably do is put something in there because it is a cool line behind the main vocal. And
I don't
that
see
would
how
probably,
that helps to tie it to the other part like you
It's
wanted.
because
though.
it's thicker.
Okay, so yeah, I'll rework those for you. We'll see how it works.
Don't do it for me.
Do we have a prenup?
Do it for the song.
I liked it as it is,
Then it's
but
done.
I might like it more.
If
I listen to
if
you.
don't like it more, beep, 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 back it up.
Seems like all we do is talk about fucking music
Right.
all the time.
You're not kidding. You're not kidding. Ugh.
Why can't we just talk about hot dogs?
Right. Can we do another Belonging Dogs episode?
I mean,
Get him lodged in my sphincter onyx.
clearly our best episode.
What is this? My Odie?
The sphincter of onyx.
Sphincter of onyx.
Brad's having some issues. We got to go get him some Tums. So, BSers, we're going to be back after this. Set course.
To the future!
So, are we just recapping?
So,
Wait.
yeah, did you guys listen to that? I sent the version yesterday.
I did.
Beautiful. It's beautiful.
You
Tell you
did?
everything I need. I'll tell you everything you need to know later.
You didn't listen.
No, I did.
Oh, you
That was-
did? Okay.
That's why I changed from 5 to 7 to 7 to 9. I was like, oh, I gotta listen to that.
Oh, okay. I guess.
Get out of bed.
Let's just
around
jump into
now.
it. I think instead of like listening to it right here, since you guys have already listened to it, the listeners probably just listened to it. Let's just do where the song takes us out of the episode. We've been doing that lately. So, what'd you guys think?
Are we coming back from the future, or what are we doing?
Oh
Yeah,
my
we can be
God.
back.
We just hopping in.
Yeah,
We're back.
yeah. Welcome us back.
All right. I can't do that.
What?
You know this is all going in anyway, so you just
Yeah,
We're back.
Welcome back, everybody.
We're back.
We,
it's going in at the end.
oh,
We
you
got the-
welcoming us back's gonna go in at the end. Yeah, I got
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
it. Okay, we're back. I've done some
So,
edits.
welcome
Patrick?
back, everybody.
Jeez.
I did go ahead and.
So I'd like to welcome everybody back real quick.
Can we do it by individual names?
And we are back. I'd like to welcome
Kyle.
back
Dave.
Who are some of the fine ladies following us on Instagram? Let's welcome some of them back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd like to welcome Hot Pussy 2463921.
Fire Pan 66 eggplant emoji.
Right.
I'd also like to give a shout out to whatever bodega follows Vonlio Tunes.
Right.
They do text me their weekday special quite often.
Nice.
In a DM.
I know.
Good.
Once in a while, I'll log into Instagram and be like, oh, sweet, a new follower. And then it's like,
Nope.
do you want sweet puss? I'm like, well,
Not
yeah,
really.
but
Yeah, but
it's Instagram. so-
not from you.
right. Here we go. And we're back. Shit.
We never left. Welcome back, everybody.
All right, here we go. Good call. We are back. What are we doing? Past matters. From
We are
the
listening
past to the future, talking about past matters. Sorry to cut you off there, Patrick.
Oh, no, I was just going to catch up the listeners. I did manage to find the keys to the time machine
Oh, good.
in the bag of cheeseburger Doritos that Uncle Dave keeps in his fanny pack.
Wait, we're
So-
putting Doritos on cheeseburgers now?
Yeah.
Because we did the hot dog thing, and now
Yeah.
I mean, putting Doritos on cheeseburgers is 100% reasonable, and I'm down.
BSer, send us a photo of your favorite food to add Doritos to.
Oh, you guys are talking about Doris burgers.
I think we
Right.
should start a whole new separate Instagram page of just food with Doritos on it.
Right.
And every day it can be a different food
Right.
that you can put Doritos on. We'll never run out of shit to put on there.
No. Has anybody on this podcast right here, right now, done a full nacho with Doritos?
No, I don't know why
No.
either. Should.
Why doesn't anybody do that?
Seems like a natural transition.
Is it because regular nachos give you extreme heartburn and possible death?
I'm glad to
was
see
it
you
this
survived.
episode? It was this episode.
It
We
was,
almost
yeah,
all
right?
died.
Yes, we almost all died from. I had a
Yes, I'd like to
bubble.
say we made it from the past to now,
did.
but it was
We
not
did.
easy.
But those, and I love your wife to death and her food and all of it. But something in those nachos, that was a 3-meal recovery.
Brad seriously almost
Same-
died in the studio.
The same shit happened 3 times in a row. After
Really?
The next 3 meals, I thought I had a condition.
Oh boy.
Now everything's good, but I got fucked up.
I did not have a good night after you guys left that night.
No, I had nacho hangover the next day.
Yeah. So,
They were delicious,
It hurt.
though. That's the thing. I don't want to
Gosh.
discourage Shanna from ever making us food, but my God,
No.
my God,
The next day, I would have eaten them again.
yeah, yeah. I wouldn't have learned from that. I
if there
still
were
have
more
it.
left over, we
Right.
probably would have walked upstairs and
Right.
been like, ugh, it hurts, but
Oh,
it's
fuck,
so
it hurt.
good.
Pork.
And I've got a stomach of iron. I eat pizza rolls.
Yeah,
Right.
that was
Right.
rough. That was a rough
Those
night.
were dynamite, but god damn did they hurt. And I don't know if it was because of the hot taco sauce, the hot sauce, or because of the jalapenos.
Oh
but
man, I
something
eat
got
that
me.
taco sauce all the time. So
Yeah.
Let me
I think
ask
it
you
was that
this:
pulled pork.
individual roll call. Brad, worth it?
Yeah. I just
Wait, worth it?
Yeah, I wasn't gonna make myself food.
Yeah,
Right, I
Patrick,
just said I would-
worth it.
Definitely do it again.
Okay. Well, we got that.
What did I
settled.
do? I drank a glass of baking soda water.
We had to
And
do
like-
a home
I'm like-
remedy for Brad.
Yeah, 8,000 of those ginger tums that
Yeah, I had to play Deadwood Doctor and make you a tonic.
it kind of worked though. It got us through.
By the way, I got the set of Tombstone Funko Pops. They're in my office now. They're pretty badass.
I recommend that you take a picture of them and put them up on our Instagram page.
Yep,
I
that's
would-
awesome. So
Cool.
anyway, what were we doing in this episode?
Yeah, let's get back to this. We're trying to finish this song of mine, and Brad, you had some suggestions for me. Both of you did to put some different vocals in that bridge section, which I did last night, and I sent them to you. And you guys said you have listened to them. And
Yeah.
what do you think? How did I do?
I will tell you that, not to sound conceited, It's exactly what I thought it was going to sound like, and I love it.
I thought you were going to say, it's exactly how I thought you were going to sing it, and you did it wrong.
Not at all. That's you projecting you onto that comment. I think that's what it needed. It's like soft. It makes that part a lot more melodic. If anything, I would think maybe the second part could be a little bigger, but I think it nails it. Like, it's really good.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. The one thing I worried about when we kept, tweaking this song and tweaking, or at least telling you to tweak this song, is that we were going to lose the spirit that you ardently defended, which is you want the listener to be caught off guard. You want them to sort of, I guess, for lack of a better word, struggle with how the song's laid out. You don't want it to be an easy listener on 97.2 The Stride. Stride. But I think you effectively kept the spirit of the song, kept the emotion of the song, and I think it works. I'm with Brad. I'd still like bigger, but I think if we get too big with it, then it's just going to turn into a cacophony.
As I kept working on it, it was one of those things, like you said, I worried about just doing too much to it, because I liked this song at its basic level, like guitar, bass, drums, and vocals. Like, I was happy with it, kind of like the Laser Eyes song we did. Like, I just liked that it was kind of raw, and I liked the sound of it. So I worried that if I tinkered with it too much, I would screw it up, but I like where it landed. I didn't necessarily want the listener to be uncomfortable with the musical elements of it, and that to be difficult to get through. I more wanted the lyrics to be challenging, but I guess inadvertently I also made the music challenging to listen to, which I'm fine with. I don't think every song has to be like perfectly laid out to be an easy listen.
We've talked about this before several times on the show. I think some of my favorite moments with music are putting on an album or maybe a song and being like, I don't know what people see in this. And then on the second listen, I pick something up. And then on the third listen, it starts to click. And maybe the 10th listen, where I go, you know what? I totally get what the artist is trying to do here. And then you fall in love with it.
See Mr. Bungle.
I was just gonna talk about that, Brad, because their album Disco Volante was basically the turning point for me. Like a light bulb went on where I said, like, oh wait, there aren't rules. You can do whatever you want. And that was a huge revelation for me as a kid listening to that album. And then
I agree.
I hear like they play these songs live. Like, what? How do they even do that? And then I saw it and it was amazing. And I
think I've drawn parallels to some of your music and some Mike Patton associated acts before, whether it's Faith No More, but you have exactly what you're talking about. You have a way of throwing out the rules and creating your own sound, and that's what I appreciates about you, Wade.
So a song like this, that's why I do defend them so much, because I don't always want it to be like, oh, well, it needs to work for everybody. Like, sometimes if it's working for me and like that's what I want.
It's because
like,
you're a sensitive douche.
It's probably because I'm bullheaded.
A little bit. But I think what I like most about that is the fact that you have your part that is mostly guitars and just regular, right? And it's the bass of the song. And I think this part, you bring these backing vocals in and you make it softer and you make it a little more melodic, which I think is where it kind of landed. It really makes that contrast. It highlights the difference in that part even more. Because before it was kind of an uncomfortable, soft bring down kind of, and it took halfway through it to understand it.
Yeah.
And I think now the melody of it is a little more relatable, quicker, that it makes you appreciate that part sooner, which makes you sooner and makes you go, it kind of completes the tie and the connection.
It doesn't take the processing time.
Right, exactly. And you didn't have time to do that because it's not a very long part. Like if that was the rest of the song and you were going to go on for another minute and a half with it, it probably could have eased into it, but it was just a blip. I think the fact that it goes into that blip and it kind of organized that part a little bit better. I think you brought some vocals up in it as well. Sounds like
the background vocals overall.
So like the whole thing, just the volume of it and the softness of the undertone of it, the core of it is really good. And it drew me in a lot quicker, not because of the way you sang it based on my suggestion, I like that because it's what I heard.
Mhm.
I'm probably the one person that is actually going to even acknowledge that. But I like the fact that it brought it all up and it made that part its own thing a lot quicker, and it made me like it a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. So, is it done?
Yeah.
Package it.
Yeah. Like I said, I could, like, anytime we're in this setting, right? Like, you could play a song and you're looking for feedback. You could always give feedback to anything forever. Right. So I think for what this song is and where it started and where it is now, it's done. It is done.
I always worry when we have, 3 revisits on a song because we've all complained about overproduction and trying to let perfect be the enemy of good. And I think with music in particular, you start polishing it and eventually you over polish it to a turd.
Right. Yeah. Tune in for season 2, which is one song.
Yeah.
But this is good for
14
me.
episodes.
Like, it's always good to let go a little bit of that control because collaboration really does help. And you guys know me, like when I think a song's done, like I did with this one, I'm just like kind of shut down, like, oh no, it's done. What are you guys even talking about? But
yeah.
Well, I think
letting
we firmly
that guard
established,
down.
I don't know.
letting that guard down a little bit to allow the process to happen ultimately does help. So I'm glad that we did it. Let's wrap this up. This song is going to take us out. BSers, give us feedback. Do you like it when we play the song and it just takes us out? Something new we've been trying out. You could send us an email to bs@belongingsongs.com or go to our website, belongingsongs.com, hit up the forums page, fill it out, send us a message. There you can listen to the before and after versions of all our songs. Check us out on
We've been
Instagram.
getting tons of email, by the way.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
send it in. Be
Into
a part of it.
Into the junk mail.
Lots of email.
Hey,
Lots of
Wade.
email.
Lots of reviews, man. The reviews have just been flying in.
Yeah. Reviews have been piling in. Instagram followers, shout out to T-Pang9. All of it. It's piling up. The show is successful, and we love it.
Yep. So you leave us a review. If you listen on
If we have time to read them, we will.
Yes,
I wonder
exactly
why I
right.
can never get through the outros.
Another thing is we're looking for interns. We need somebody
Yeah.
to go through this fucking email.
Yeah.
So if you're a college kid out there and you don't have summer plans, get in here.
Yeah. How much
Go
credit do we offer?
Go through this email. Filter
It's
these Instagram
It's 12
followers.
credits.
Wait, yeah, you just
There's a few-
graduate if you're an intern for us, right?
Yes.
You just
Yeah.
automatically graduate.
Yeah.
No, you get.
Doesn't matter where you go to school.
You get audio experience
We'll
right
send
here,
you a-
right now.
We'll send you a PDF
Right
of a
here,
certificate
right
of completion.
now.
Right, exactly right.
Yep. We'll all sign it.
Oh, it's signed.
It's
Yeah.
just going to be our names typed, parentheses, digitally signed.
University of BS.
Yeah.
There you go. BS University. University of BS.
BSU.
All right.
Wait, USB?
Ooh,
UB
UBS.
Yeah.
of S.
Hey, Wade.
Yeah.
Who produced this episode? Maybe you
I
don't want to
even
admit
know
it.
anymore. This podcast is produced by Satellite Chicken Sound Lab. That's me. If you or anyone you know.
That sounded a little spiteful.
It sounded a little.
Were you not happy producing this drivel, Wade?
It sounded a little not promotable.
Yeah, it sounded like you weren't proud of our product
Yeah.
here.
This episode is produced by Satellite Chicken. That's me. I did it.
And this
All right, do it again.
episode is going to be a peach to edit in the Satellite Chicken Sound Lab. Oh
This
my God. Let's
Satellite
get out of
Chicken
here.
sounds sickening.
As always, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you here again next week.
It's a false sense of security, thinking purely from one point of view. Because life's a two-way mirror, there's more than what just reflects you. It was guns that forged the history books, blood that built the 'cause they get to use and step on you. You can't deny what's really happened. You can't rely on justice from a stolen gun. Sometimes I'm fine with being happy, but then I'll read the news, and that wall I built comes crashing down. All those bricks I made from laughing are not as funny when others must give voices out. You can't deny what's really happened. You can't rely on justice from a stolen gun. The past matters. It's horrible, it's the worst. Repeat the same matters. They're horrible, they're the worst. Repeat the past matters. It's horrible, it's the worst. Repeat the same matters. They're horrible, they're the worst. Repeat the past matters. It's horrible, it's the worst. Repeat the same matters. They're horrible, they're the worst. Hey, now we're calling this home. Brave, you've got to go. Hey, now we're building this home. Chain legs to fashion our own. Chain legs to fashion our own. Chain legs to fashion our own. Hey, now we're calling this home. Brave, you've got to go. Hey, now we're building this home. Chain legs to fashion our own. Sometimes I'm fine with being happy, but then I read the news. That wall I built comes crashing down. All those bricks I made from laughing are not as funny when others must give voices out. The past matters. It's horrible, it's the worst. Repeat the same matters. They're horrible, they're the worst. Repeat the past matters. It's horrible, it's the worst. Repeat the same matters. They're horrible, they're the worst. We shouldn't be so dumb to think skin changes blood, or to think others don't disagree. 'Cause they've proven their love for ruling above just about damn near everything.
That was fucked.
That was a goddamn disaster.
Only the outro. I think you just cut out all of that,
Most
and it's
of it,
probably
yeah.
fine. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
probably.
hey, the funnest part about producing this podcast is trying to turn all our bullshit into something cohesive and listenable.
Right. You know,
That should be one of your commercials. Do you have a podcast filled with bullshit that's incomprehensible? We specialize in that
no,
shit.
do you need it to sound coherent? I can do that.
Right.
Yeah, it's good. Boom, done. Next.